This segment is brought to you by Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. All right, we're back. It's Good Vibes time. I'm Martin Falls. Debbie Cox, the Nova, is right here on the new set. Good to see you, Debbie.
Good to see you as well.
All right. I love this topic.
Yeah.
And everybody needs to watch this topic. Facebook, YouTube, life in general, your friends, everybody. Managing jealousy.
Yeah.
Woohoo, the floor is yours.
Yes. Okay. So actually, I would love to add to this that we are going to be talking about jealousy, and we're also going to be talking about envy, which society tends to use interchangeably, but there's actually a difference. And then I'll let you decide which one we want to start with.
Okay.
But first of all, I want to see if you actually even know the difference between jealousy and envy. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. You can guess. Okay. Jealousy or envy.
Okay.
So let's just say that there is a man who has hired a new secretary, and she's pretty. And he comes home and he tells his wife, hey, just hired a new secretary. And she's like, oh, what does she look like? And he's like, oh, she's pretty. And the wife feels a contraction inside of herself, and she's like, I'm not sure if I like this. Do you think that's jealousy or is that envy?
Envy. It was a guess. Which means I didn't know what the hell you were saying. All right.
Good guess. Okay, so this is really important because you're going to hear jealousy and envy used interchangeably a lot. Here's the difference, okay? So jealousy is a protective kind of energy, okay? It basically says, I have something or someone, and I don't want you to take it from me. Okay. So that means that, that's a good example right there. You see it a lot of show up in relationships, right? But also it can be your friends. Like you can find out that your best friend is going off and going to a movie with a new friend and you didn't know anything about it, and that can stir up jealousy. Or you can be vying for a promotion at your job and all of a sudden you recognize that somebody may be outperforming you, and that can bring up some jealousy.
But where did the term jealous envy come from?
Well, that I don't know where
Somebody
it originally
used
came
it wrongly,
from.
right?
Yes, at some point in time, it started to be used in our culture interchangeably. But there really is a distinction in the psychology about those two things. Okay, so jealousy is a three-person story. It's me, the person I value, and the rival. Okay, so it basically says I don't want you to have what I have. All right. Envy is a two-person story. It's you and the other person. What envy is that you have something that I want, and I'm not sure that I can have it, or I don't think that I can have it, okay? So that's typically what we're talking about when we talk about, that's a two-person story. It's me and the other person who has what I want, right? So we're gonna talk about both of them because I think it's really important. In both cases, it's important to remember that these are natural, normal feelings, and there's benefit to them if you know what you're looking for. But if you don't, it can actually spiral you in a direction that is opposite from why that energy comes to play, okay? So with the envy, which one do you want to talk first? Envy or jealousy?
You pick.
Okay, so let's start with jealousy.
All right, okay.
Because jealousy is a very natural thing. There's actually a term called mate guarding in the science, right? And it's basically jealousy coming to make sure that if you think about primal times, right? It's important for you to protect what's yours. If you're a woman, protecting the person who's going out and finding you food and protecting your family, really important, right? Same thing with the man. You're protecting the one that is actually the mother of your children, your offspring, whatnot. Okay, so very natural. We see it as young as 6-month-old infants have been recorded as grimacing when they see or witness their mother showing affection toward a fake baby. So so it's in us from the very beginning, okay? Now, the thing that you need to remember is that there are messages that come with jealousy. So if you're in a relationship with someone, for example, and I heard Jordan Peterson talking about this, he's like, you have to ask yourself and really ask yourself and evaluate, do you want to be with somebody who is attractive to other people? Right? And you really evaluate that. That's not a good, so you might think, oh yeah, of course I want somebody who's attractive to other people, but he's like, do you really? Because in some cases,
can you handle it?
Can you handle it? Because in some cases, when, for example, a man cannot handle having a woman who's getting outside attention, what he will tend to do is give her negative messaging every time she's getting that attention. And over time, what she will do is start to maybe put on some extra weight, put some extra clothes on. And what ends up happening is that he stops being attracted to her, and she's really letting herself go. But if you look back, what's driving that experience, and oftentimes both for jealousy and for envy, what is there behind the scenes is I'm not enough. It's highlighting this feeling of I'm not enough, I might be inferior. So in other words, if you put your attention on someone else, or if someone else is giving you attention, I might lose you. Or if, the boss is actually looking at the performance of this other person, I might not get that promotion. Or if this person is going to a movie with my friend, I might not be her best friend at the end of the day. So it highlights this feeling of like, oh no, something that I value, someone that I value is about to be taken away from me, and I need to do something about it. So the couple of things that you can do is, first of all, if it's shining a spotlight on your own insecurities, if you think I'm not good enough for this person and they're with me, but they're about to leave me, right? It's to look and examine to yourself, where are you judging yourself as inferior? Perhaps there are some things that you need to do maybe to actually improve your own self-image, improve your own self-esteem in order to feel like a compatible mate to the person that you're with. Or maybe it is that you just need to be reminded, I really value this person. There's a lot of research actually that comes out of the polyamorous community about jealousy, interesting enough. And there's a term called compersion. And compersion is really taking joy and delight in seeing someone that you care about delight and enjoy, even if it's with someone else, to actually say, okay, this person that I love, even though it's excluding me and it doesn't feel like it has anything to do with me, they're delighting. And so I'm going to actually delight.
What they call that?
Compersion.
I want to ask you something when we come back from the break.
Sure.
Compersion, that's a new word. I'll learn something new today.
Yeah.
Well, I learned more than once. Envy, jealousy, compersion.
Yes.
We'll be right back. This segment was brought to you by Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. All right, we're back. We're talking about managing jealousy. Okay, you spurred something on. You said compersion.
Yeah.
I can honestly say maybe I have a weird fault to me, but I got a lot of best friends. But like when Joe Waits or Mike Barker, or we can go down the line. When they do well and they make a lot of money and they earn it, I'm overjoyed.
Yeah.
And I don't get people who get jealous when their friends make money.
Yeah.
They're like a reflection of our whole group.
Yes.
Be happy for them.
Right. And so it's often it's easier to do whenever you're actually winning in life. So I think that if you have anyone who's watching at home who is experiencing jealousy, envy on a regular basis, the thing to look at is like there are maybe areas that are neglected in your life that need your attention. So in other words, when you see someone in your group winning, it doesn't highlight maybe the not enoughness in your life because there's a not enoughness. However, if you at home, like if you have somebody in your life who just got a promotion and they're making more money than you and you really are struggling financially, what that does is it highlights the not enoughness. And because it's very difficult, because culturally we kind of like put down jealousy and envy, people don't really want to admit that they're feeling jealous or envious. So what they do then is like it leaks out subconsciously. So they start criticizing other people, right? They start putting them down. They start subverting them, like throwing obstacles in their way. And really what they're doing is trying to overcome that sense of inferiority that has just been highlighted by the other person's win. So what you experience when your friends are winning is something that is a skill that at home, if you don't experience that, that you may want to develop, because if you can actually celebrate other people's wins, even and especially when it doesn't have anything to do with you, or if it highlights a place where it's like, oof, I'm not doing well. They're doing better than I am, right? They just got an engagement and I'm not even, that kind of thing. Like where that happens, recognize that there's an opportunity for you to actually highlight and go, okay, I value what they have. And any misunderstanding that I'm holding that I might not be able to have, it is a misunderstanding. And
we sort of challenge each other, our group.
Yeah.
Well, we're all successful because we have the same mentality.
Yeah.
But as you well know, this building was a big point of contention on Facebook.
Yes.
And I was thinking the whole time, where were they when I bought it?
Yeah.
When they didn't have everything here.
Yeah.
But it's almost like people wait till you ascend. It's almost like an eagle.
Yeah.
The only thing that hits an eagle is a crow.
Right.
But the eagle keeps flying higher and higher and higher, and then the crow can't take the altitude, so it peels off. It can't handle the altitude.
Right. Yeah.
keep ascending.
Yes, absolutely. And especially in this day in social media times, right? Envy is at an all-time high because everybody's peeking into what everybody else is doing and they all have an opinion. And again, because there's that phenomenon of feeling that social media envy, like, oh, they have something that I don't want to have. Now, this is really important to understand. The science says that there are two types of envy, okay? There's benign envy, which says, oh, that person has something that must be nice. They have what, they have what I don't want, that I don't have, right?
Yeah.
But then there's malignant envy. And this is where you say, okay, that person has something that I want and I don't think I can have it. Therefore, I don't think they should have it either.
Right.
And that's where you start to see people subconsciously sort of like throwing a wrench in things, criticizing, trying to bring that other person down so that they can actually feel.
Malicious facts.
Or making up malicious stories for sure. Okay, yes. So it's important to recognize that the opportunity exists for you. If you are feeling envious about somebody, the opportunity exists for you to actually improve your own life in that specific area. That's what it's calling to you for. It's a motivator. It's meant to be a motivator, but it can turn malignant when you don't recognize it as a motivator. Instead, you're operating underneath that misunderstanding, I can't have it. And then you start thinking, and they shouldn't have it either, right? So as soon as you start finding yourself entertaining ideas in your mind, like that person doesn't deserve it. Why should they have it? That kind of thing. That's when you've moved into malignant envy. And now the signal of envy that was meant to actually push you and motivate you in a proper direction is actually spiraling you backwards and bringing you down. Now, if you're the object of envy, a very important thing to remember is that the higher you fly, the more envy is actually pointed at you. And so what needs to happen then, one great skill is to be able to hold the slings, the arrows with a bit of humor. And it's not to say that, because it can be quite damaging, in some instances, but if you can actually flow with it and understand that it comes with the rise, like let's just say the Elon Musks, the Donald Trumps, like all the people, the higher their position, the more haters, if you will.
I asked Mr. Buque years ago, I'd worked for him through college, and when I was starting HTV and done some movies and everything. First time I ever heard something bad about me, I went and talked to him. I said, Mr. Buque, how do you handle that? He says, well, Martin, I followed you all through high school. You were like the all-American boy. And he went through a story. He said, now you're doing well at HTV. I said, I am. He said, I won't tell you what he said, but he says, now you're going to be a son of a, and I finally got it. When you climb the hill and you start ascending, there's the crows. They'll start attacking.
Yeah. So really important to understand that comes with it, right? So, oh, there it is, and so kind of like have a little bit of humor about it. And then for anyone who's on the crow side, that a really good antidote, like an easy way to like get yourself out of that envy spiral is to go to gratitude. And even if it's the smallest thing, like, well, I'm not doing well, everybody else is doing better than me, but at least I have legs, something to actually open up the aperture of gratitude, because gratitude is a direct antidote to envy. And then you can recognize the power and the potential and possibility that envy is offering to you.
Good show. See you next week. All right, we'll be back. Don't go away. This segment was brought to you by Rouse's Markets. Feels like home.